Так, вроде все настроилось. Начинаем играть. Так, Стэнли Parable, блядь. Не знаю. Какая-то вроде бродилка с какой-то хренью упором на то, что типа какие-то психозом какие-то. Сейчас посмотрим. Это история человека по имени Стэнли. Стэнли работал в компании в большом здании, было там рабочим 427. Задача рабочего 427 была проста. Он сидел за столом в комнате 427 и нажимал кнопки на клавиатуре. Хрена работает. Приказы шли из экрана на его стол, и указаны, как кнопки нажать, как долго их надо жать и в каком порядке. Рабочий 427 делал это каждый день, каждого месяца, каждого года, если для кого-то какая-то работа могла стать угнетающей. Понятно были? Стэнли радовался каждый раз, когда поступали приказы, словно он был создан специально для этой работы. Кто мне говорит, что я тяжело работал? Он Стэнли. Стэнли был счастлив. Понятно? Чувак счастлив в своей работе. А ты? Чего что-то замечательно. Однажды случилось нечто. Нечто, что невероятно изменило Стэнли. Нечто он не сможет забыть. Он сидел за столом почти час, когда внезапно осознал, что ни один приказ с экрана для него не поступало. Никто не пришел дать ему указания, позвать на совещание или просто поздороваться за все эти годы работы в компании. Такого не случалось. Такой полной изоляции. Что-то явно было не так. Стэнли был абсолютно шокирован и долгое время не мог сдвинуться с места. Но потом он пришел в себя, собрался, встал из-за стола и вышел в коридор. Что-то это мне напоминает. Никого нету. Чувак просто не в курсе, а что происходит в этом мире. Эти сошли с ума. Итак. Всё, забрать. Прыгать. Прыгать нельзя в этой игре. Мышку. Сильная мышка. На ускорить. Минус глаза. Чуть поменьше. Как нужно? Эй, есть кто? Алло. Открой. Стэн решил пойти в конференц-зал, может, просто пропустил уведомление? Пойдем. Все равно что-то. Чуть меньше. Прям до минимума. Кошмар. О, лучше таким деревянным быть. Есть кто? Алло. Эй.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Дверь слева. Справа. Лево, вправо, слева, справа, лево, справа, лево, вправо. Пойдем налево. Компы работают. Реально эпидемия какая-то. Так. Здрасте. Здрасте, говорю. Есть кто? Никого не было. Не веря своим глазам, Сын решил подняться к начальнику с надеждой найти ответы там. Эй, все ушли бухать, оставили меня? Что это? Все ушли на тусовку, походу.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to
Не
his
хочу я,
boss's
наверное, пойду
office.
вниз. Эй,
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be
плохое место
fired for
рабочее.
that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All
А,
because
то,
he
что я могу,
believed
я здесь сделать,
everyone
здесь
would
можно
manage.
сделать выбор,
His
типа.
boss would think he was
Я не
crazy.
пошел к боссу, да,
And then
типа, я
something occurred
типа,
to
очканул,
Stanley.
типа.
Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all.
Ходит.
None of it made any
Я по
logical
кругу хожу.
sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make
Пока
other
Стэнли был в
strange
этом, ну,
observations. For example,
опять
why
другие
couldn't he
странности.
see
Например,
his
почему он
feet
видит
when he
свои,
looked down?
не видит
Why
своих
did
ног?
doors
Мои
close
ноги.
automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter,
Пошел.
these rooms were
Блядь,
starting
я
to
реально
look
по
pretty
кругу хожу.
familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Ай, чё, серьезно, я летаю.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so
Что происходит?
much fun, and Stanley
Что за
marveled that he had
приколы?
still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all.
Вопрос
entered
появится в голове
Stanley's
Стэнли,
head. One he
вопрос,
was
о котором
amazed
он
he hadn't asked
удивляется, не
himself
задавал
sooner.
раньше.
Why is there a
Почему я
voice in my
слышу в
head
голове голос,
dictating
который говорит
everything
мне,
that
что
I'm doing and thinking?
делаю,
Now the voice was
думаю.
describing
Теперь
itself,
голос
being considered
описывал,
by
как о
Stanley,
нем
who found it
размышлялся,
particularly strange.
в
I'm
котором
dreaming about a
остался
voice
особенно странным, с
describing me,
полным
thinking about
личностью
how it's
мысли.
describing my
Ницци голос,
thoughts, he
который
thought.
описывает меня
And while he thought it all
являющим от
very
ока.
odd, and
И
wondered if this
как
voice
много
spoke to
текста.
all people in their dreams,
И хоть он
the truth
задумался,
was
что
that, of
все очень
course,
странно,
this
и о
was not a
том,
dream.
говорил ли
How
голос
could
с
it be?
теми
Was Stanley
людьми
simply
во
deceiving
сне,
himself?
Жили Стэнли
Believing that if
просто
he's
обманывал
asleep, he doesn't
себя,
have to take
убеждал себя,
responsibility
что
for
спит,
himself?
чтобы принимать
Stanley
ответственность за
is
свои
as awake
поступки.
right
Стэнли был
now
в
as
сознании
he's ever
сейчас, как
been
же,
in his life.
за свой
Now, hearing the voice speak these words
слышал,
was
как
quite a
голос
shock to Stanley.
проговаривает эти слова,
After all,
Стэнли
he knew
был
for certain
шокирован.
beyond
Все
a
же он
doubt
был
that this
абсолютно
was in
уверен,
fact
что
a dream. Did the
сон.
voice not see him float and make the magical
Неужели
stars
голос
just a
не
moment ago?
видел,
How
как
else
он
would the
ее
voice explain all
дал, и
that?
когда
This
стал
voice was a
волшебной
part of himself
заставился,
too.
голос
Surely,
был
surely,
частью.
if he could just...
Значит,
He would prove it. He
он
would prove that he
докажет,
was in control, that this
он может
was a dream.
управлять. Это
So
был
he
только
closed his
сон.
eyes gently,
Тогда
and he
он
invited
медленно закрыл
himself to
глаза
wake
и
up.
настроился
He felt the
проснуться.
cool weight of the blanket on his
Легкие
skin,
веса тела
the
на
press of the
коже,
mattress on his back,
сопротивление
the fresh air
матраса
of a
на
world
спине.
outside this one.
Те
Let
же
me
возле
wake up,
пределами.
he thought to himself.
Проснуться пора.
I'm through with this dream. I wish
Не
it
надоел
to
этот
be
сон.
over.
Я
Let me
хочу,
go
чтобы
back to
он
my job.
закончился. Я хочу
Let me
вернуться к своей
continue
работе.
pushing the
Дайте
buttons.
мне продолжить
Please.
нажимать
It's
кнопки.
all I want.
Пожалуйста.
I want
Только
my
это и надо.
apartment and my wife
Свою
and my
квартиру, свою
job.
жену, свою работу. Хочу,
All I
чтобы
want is
моя
my
жизнь была
life
такой, как она
exactly the way it's
всегда
always
была.
been. My life is normal.
Моя жизнь нормальная.
I am
Я
normal.
нормальный. Все в порядке.
Everything will be fine. I am
Я в порядке.
okay.
Эй,
Stanley began screaming.
ты не заорал,
Please,
пожалуйста,
someone
разбудите
wake
меня
me up. My
кто-нибудь.
name is
Меня
Stanley.
зовут, у
I
меня
have a
есть
boss. I have an
начальник,
office.
есть
I
офис,
am
я
real.
настоящий.
Please, just someone tell me I am
Пожалуйста,
real. I
скажите мне,
must
что
be
я
real.
настоящий.
I
Я же
must be. Can
настоящий,
anyone
должен быть
hear my voice?
кто-нибудь
Who
услышит
am
мой
I?
голос. Кто я? Кто я?
And everything went black.
Тогда стал тебя. Так.
This is
Третий.
the story of a
Это
woman
история
named
о женщине по
Mariella.
имени Приэла.
Mariella woke up on a day
Приэла
like any other.
проснулась
She
День
rose,
она
got
встала,
dressed,
оделась,
gathered her
собрала и
belongings, and walked to
пошла
her
на
place of
работу.
work. But on this particular day,
Но в тот
her
день на своем
walk was
пути она обнаружила
interrupted by
труп
the body of
мужчины,
a man who had
который
stumbled through town
это
talking and
шел по
screaming to
городу,
himself,
бормоча
and
как
then
те, что
collapsed
понятно
dead on the
только ей.
sidewalk.
Ну и
And
потом
although she would
упал,
soon
замер
turn to
на
go
тротуар.
call for an ambulance,
Уже через
for
час
just a
пару,
few brief
ну, через
moments,
пару
she
мгновений она
considered the
побежала вызвать
strange
скорую.
man.
Ну,
He was obviously
секунд
crazy. This
стоял.
much she knew.
Он точно был
Everyone knows
сумасшедшим, в
what
этом
crazy
он был.
people look like.
Ты знаешь,
And in
как
that
выглядит
moment, she
сумасшедший.
thought to herself
Тогда
how
она
lucky she
подумала,
was to be
сколько же
normal. I
хорошо,
am
что она
sane.
нормальная.
I am
Я
in
психически
control of
здорова,
my mind.
управляю своими мыслями,
I know
понимаю, что
what is
настоящее,
real
а что нет.
and what isn't. It was comforting to think this,
В
and
этом
in a
было
certain
приятно
way, seeing
думать,
this
и в
man made
каком-то
her feel
роде
better.
стало
But
легче
then she
от вида
remembered the
этого
meeting she
человека.
had
Но
scheduled for
тогда
that
Мариэлла
day.
вспомнил,
The
что у
very
нее была
important
запланирована
people
встреча
whose impressions of
с
her
очень
would
важными
affect her
людьми,
career,
мнением
and by
которых было бы
extension, the
появляться
rest
на
of her
карьеру,
life.
значит,
She had
на
no
всю ее
time for this,
оставшуюся.
so it was
У
only a
нее
moment
не было
that she stood
на это
there,
времени.
staring
Так что
down
она
at the body,
стояла, глядя на
and then
тело
she turned and
мгновенно.
ran.
Потом развернулась и побежала. Ага. Это типа, если я пойду в подвал, как бы на этом как бы так и заканчивается эта история.
All of his
Интересненько.
co-workers were gone.
Все
What could
коллеги
it mean?
исчезли, как же это
Stanley decided to go to the
случилось?
meeting room. Perhaps he
Стэнли
had
решил
simply
пойти
missed a
в
memo.
конференц-зал, чтобы посмотреть, может я пропустил уведомление, можно будет скоро выучить полностью тему.
When
В прошлый
Stanley
раз я
came to
пошел
a
в
set
левую
of two
дверь.
open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Так, пойдем в левую, только пойдем наверх. Так. Там.
Yet
И
there was not a
здорово,
single
никого
person
нет,
here
все ушли.
either.
Так,
Feeling a wave of disbelief,
идем к
Stanley
лестнице.
decided to go up to his boss's
Теперь мы пойдем
office.
наверх.
Hoping it coming to a staircase,
Идем
Stanley
наверх.
walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Так, наверх. Нет начальник. У него тут хоромы. Здравствуйте. Я за зарплатой. Здравствуйте.
Stepping into his manager's
Какой
office, Stanley was
офис.
once again stunned to discover
Зайдя
not an indication
директор
of
Стэнли
any
был
human
снова
life.
на отсутствие хоть
Shocked,
кого-то.
unraveled, Stanley
Совершенно
wondered in
шокирующий.
disbelief who orchestrated this.
Начал
What dark
гадать, кто
secret
все
was
это
being
устроил,
held from
каким
him?
темным секретом от
What he
него
could not have
скрывали.
known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him.
Они
And
за
so the
столом
boss had
начальник
assigned it an
охраняет. Так,
extra
код 28,
secret pin number,
2845.
2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Кто это? А, здравствуйте. Вот.
Stanley just sat, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Hello. Происходит, блин.
Descending deeper into the building,
Из глубины
Stanley
здания Стэнли
realized he
заметил
felt a bit
случившееся
peculiar.
как-то особенно.
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as
Рождающие
though he
эмоции,
felt more free
словно
to
он был
think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he
работой.
feel this now,
Почему он
when for
чувствовал
years
это
it had
сейчас?
never occurred to him?
Поэтому
This
когда не
question
ранее.
would not go
Это
unanswered
вопрос
for long.
Hello.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Тут тоже развилка. Можно пойти туда, Mind Control, или пойти в доту с Mind Control поиграть, и пойти в Escape. Mind Control и Escape. С Mind Control, конечно, круто поиграть туда там. Выберу вначале Escape.
Although this passageway had the word
Проход был
escape
отмечен
written
как
on it,
выход.
the
На
truth
самом деле, в
was
конце
that at
этого
the end
коридора
of this
Стэнли ждала
hall,
жестокая
Stanley would meet
смерть.
his violent death.
Да ладно. А он
The door
бесконечный.
behind him was not
Дверь
shut.
за спиной не
Stanley
закрылась,
still
и
had
Стэнли
every opportunity to turn
оставался
around and get back on
развернуться и
track.
вернуться на правильный.
At this point, Stanley was
Стэнли
making
теперь
a
определенно
conscious, concerted effort to walk
сознательно
forward
решил двигаться.
and willingly confront his death.
Что происходит? Воу! Что за Half-Life?
As the machine whirred into motion, and
Начал
Stanley was
двигаться, пока
inched
Стэнли
closer
медленно
and
двигался
closer
к
to
своей
his
кончине.
demise, he
Он задумал
reflected that
своей
his
жизни
life had been
и
of
о том,
no consequence
насколько
whatsoever.
бесполезной
Stanley
она
couldn't
была.
see the bigger picture.
Стэнли
He
не
doesn't
мог
know the
видеть
real
общей
story,
картины, он не
trapped
знал
forever
всю
in his
историю,
narrow vision
был на
or what
себя
was
заключен в
previous.
своем узком
Perhaps his
понимании
death was
этого
of
мира.
no great loss, unplugging the
Возможно, его
eyeballs of
смерть не
the
была
blind
чем-то
man. So he
значительным, как
resigned
у
and
Бро,
willingly
да. Ну
accepted
чё,
this
все?
final
Меня
turn
сейчас
to his
шплющит?
brief and
Меня сейчас
short
шплющит?
life.
Нет!
Farewell, Stanley.
Нет!
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator,
Прощай,
as Stanley was led helplessly into the
когда
enormous
Стэнли
metal jaws.
точно
In a
отправился в
single
огромный
visceral
металлический
instant,
пасть. В
Stanley
одно
was
беспощадное
obliterated
мгновение
as
Стэнли
the
был
machine
уничтожен
crushed every
приспособленностью.
bone in his body, killing
Он
him
сломала все
instantly.
кости его тела и мгновенно убил. Да? Интересно.
And yet it would be just a few
Через
minutes
пару
before
минут
Stanley
Стэнли
would
начал
restart the game, back in his
снова
office, as alive as
в
ever.
своем офисе.
What
Ой, как
exactly did
раньше.
the narrator think
Кто
he was
именно
going to
хотел забиться
accomplish?
этим рассказчиком. Эй,
When every path you can
да все
walk has
возможно.
been created for you long in
Или
advance,
создано
death
заранее,
becomes
смерть
meaningless,
становится
making
мысленно.
life the same.
Значит,
Do you
жизнь
see
тоже.
now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the
Понимание.
moment he hit start?
Приду. Офис. Вот типа мой кабинет, да? Я типа отсюда ухожу. И вот здесь начинается типа развилка для двери. Как пойдет. Офис. Вот. Прыгал. Почему я, блядь, нажимаю кнопки по ящикам? Что за бред? Это такое? Прикольно. Конечно. Вообще. Диджей. Так. Если это рай, то это не очень. Варзона. Это современное искусство. Как я это делаю? Здрасте. Алло. Орфеус. Блин. Все взорвется. Как значит? Я не могу туда добраться. Идти-то. Ты печатаешь-то, блин? Делай что-нибудь. Идти-то. Что это за дурдом, блин?
Now look closer, Stan. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you pick up on intuitively if you have even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. Of course, being new, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to
Происходит.
here. I'm just gonna make this.
Кажется, я уже с ума.
Oh, I don't know. How about
Да. Baltic Man Control. О, блин. Это белое королевство. Не знаю, куда идти. Ага.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Хоть болтай.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save
Ну
these two.
послушай,
You
вы
can stop
чё,
the
можете
program
спасти
before they
обоих?
both fail. Push escape.
Программу для
Press
того,
quit.
как
There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward,
нажмите
you'll
escape,
be walking someone
пока вы
else's
двигаетесь.
path.
Это вы.
Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time choose.
Ну, и дальше. Алло. Уже сначала? Серьезно? Да, да, давай начать игру сначала. Потрясающая игра. Ах. Ой.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
Все
be?
коллеги исчезли, и Стэнли
Stanley
решил
decided to go
пойти
to
в
the meeting room.
конференц-зал, чтобы
Perhaps he had simply
проверить.
missed a memo.
Вдруг типа увидел какое-то уведомление. Идем это.
When
Итак,
Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he
сейчас
entered the
давай
door on
тогда
his
идем
left.
дальше в этой дверью идем.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a
Не было.
wave of disbelief,
Так,
Stanley
полностью,
decided
да.
to go up to his boss's office.
Вверх,
Coming to a staircase,
вверх.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Здравствуйте, зарплаты, бла-бла-бла.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation.
3752.
But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Ну, 4-8. Повыше. Пойдет.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened
Nope.
passageway.
Тоже. Так. Идем. Поехали вниз. Едем мы вниз. Ятина какая-то ж. М. Надо тапаться при загрузке. Шара. Говоришься. Так, сейчас идем к моим
Stanley walked
контролю.
straight ahead through the
Станлey пошел
large door
прямо,
of the
зашел в
red
дверь, на котором
mind
был
control
написан
facility.
станция управления сознания. Здравствуйте.
The lights rose on an
Свет
enormous
залил
room packed
ее.
with
Комната
television
с
screens.
множеством
What
экранов.
horrible secret did this place
ужасный
hold?
секрет
Stanley
таит.
thought to himself. Did he have the
Государственный
strength
хватит ли
to
у него
find out?
мужества знать? Конечно. Нет. Что мы уже? Сдохли 2 раза. Так, это камень.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building,
Каждый был
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Oh, нормально.
Here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Слишком много. Все такается как. Я даже иду и...
And when at last he found the source... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go. turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this
Ладно,
pertinent,
выключи.
Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going. What all this means, I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock right now. These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then no ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
И отлично. Тру-ту-ту-ту-ту.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Давай сюда.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Это конференц-зал. Как бы можешь вернуться. Продолжить, да.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Ладно.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Козёл, а?
No, not the
Смотри,
right.
ролик.
Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Окей. Опа.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Так. Кататься туда в лифт. Поехали.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Так, ну это точно не знаем дорогу, куда ведет. Опять сюда.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we
Блин,
need to
ведущий.
restart the game again?
Опять меня
Well,
кто-то
I find it
завел.
unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Так, погнали. Ведущий, давай нормально.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Чего там,
What
все
could it
коллеги
mean?
исчезли.
Stanley
Как же так
decided to go to the meeting
случилось?
room.
Стэнли решил
Perhaps he
пойти
had
в
simply missed a
конференц-зал.
memo.
Может, он просто увидел.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Давай.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Oh.
All right, I've got a
Окей,
solution.
давай.
This time, to make sure
Ну,
we don't
пожалуйста,
get lost,
помогите.
I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Ну давай, задолбал. Кому? Ну да.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving
Плохим, что ли,
forward,
дорисовал?
are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now
Художник.
is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Так, прыгай.
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart. You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Ну что за... Ладно. По кругу.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Правильно.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do happen to have a...
Ой, не хватает здесь скримеров. Так мозг теряет. Болтает без звука.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office Hoping he might find an coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise.
Тоже надоело ведущий. Ведущий тоже мало. Долбался он читать свой текст.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen.
Кошка, хватит делать так.
Eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it.
Сейчас нам надо будет
In
не
someone
нажимать.
else's control? Never. It was
Посмотрим, что
unthinkable.
здесь.
Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent
А
his
мне уже
entire
кажется,
life
что такие
utterly
типа через
blind to the world?
конференц-зал, через босса,
But here
это
was the
плохая
proof,
идея.
the heart of the operation.
Мне так кажется.
Controls labeled with emotions,
как будто
happy or sad
неправильно.
or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again.
Так.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Достижение открытая игра пройдена. Ага. Понятно, как ее проходить. Налево, налево, наверх, налево. No. Fight Control не играйте. Так. Ну, получается, с левой стороны уже все.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to
Все
check on his
шаги
co-workers. He never
пройдены.
functioned well by
Потому
himself
что
and
это
constantly
если...
needed support and guidance from others. So the thought of total
Ну,
solitude was terrifying to
если
him.
кто-то гений
When
найдется, кто
Stanley
сможет
came to a set of two open
разгадать,
doors,
как...
this was not
Когда
the
если
correct way to the
запустить
meeting
нечаянно
room,
этот
and
таймер, да, то
Stanley
что
knew
ну,
it perfectly
нечаянно
well.
таймер.
Perhaps he wanted to stop
Разгадать,
by the
как...
employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow.
Да.
Yes.
Сейчас
This
здесь мы
room.
пойдем
But eager to get back to
просто
business,
прям
Stanley took the
в конце.
first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact
Враг
is that
ты
the
мне, враг.
story has been about nothing but you all this
Здесь можно
time.
допрыгнуть до туда?
There's someone you... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something
Опа.
beautiful.
Вероточная
Let me
матрица.
prove it.
Блин.
Prove I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red
Зашел
door.
в красную. Послушайте тебя. Давай.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that
Здесь
isn't
меня
here.
вокруг гоняешь.
Running and
Козел.
running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's
Хватит
killing us,
трындеть,
Stanley?
давай.
I
Давай мне путь.
wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Ага, все заново, да, запустим?
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Реально матрица. Можно прыгнуть? Или так? Это его прет. Меня прет, потому что Новый год, потому что Новый год. Меня прет, меня прет. Да? Окружающие летом звездное небо, да. Орлечко. Абсолютно. Короче, если что, вот если кто хочет просто позалипать, играете в эту игру, заходите вот по тому маршруту, получается, вправо до конца, прыгнуть с помоста, красная дверь. Пойдете в такую комнату, кто просто хочет потом посидеть, почилить, что-нибудь свое интересное, просто посидеть. Релаксирующая музыка. Он.
No, wait. Where are you going?
Все.
Right. Where were we?
Что теперь? Можно продолжать?
no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
И аккуратно. Стараюсь.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Типа, да? Так, да, типа. Конец пути. Да. Ну ладно.
No! Oh, thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
Пойдем.
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving. Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
Слушай, давай.
No, no. What do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Да, ну смысл, ну чё мы стоим, залипаем там. Давай уже откинемся. Бах.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do... My God. Is this really how much you dislike my game?
Короче, походу
You'll
здесь
throw yourself from this
вообще
platform
тупик.
over and over to be rid of it? You're
Круговая.
literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Ну да.
Or maybe you're just getting a
Right.
kick out of it. Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
Так я не зашел. Ну, конечно, что здесь круто, классно.
I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish I still thought that was possible.
Ну да, здесь всё, конечно. Можно просто... Все, если вы туда попадаете, все, это замкнутый круг, он не подыхает. Некуда идти. Не, если есть куда идти, пишите, посмотрим.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life. When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact
там была
is that
синяя
the
дверь.
story
Пойдем
has
синюю
been
дверь
about
откроем.
nothing. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't
Смотри,
let me
какая
stop you.
сволочь.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place.
Часть карты даже
Broken
не
rooms,
закончили.
exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I'd written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better?
Потому что
What did you
хочется мне
want
везде
to
полазить.
see?
Что ты
Vehicles?
болтаешь?
Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps
Вот
ahead of
третий
where we
вариант.
were
Это
before.
уже скачок
Go
вперед.
ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Вперед, Stanley. Попробуем. Давай.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Да.
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Я лошара, да? Я понял. Пошел.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Okay.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Потрясающе ее. Ну, слушай, да. Я просто отвернусь.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Да, блин. Это великий был. О!
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you all
Майнкрафт.
desired, a game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough?
А
Tell
прыгать
me that,
оттуда
Stanley.
нельзя.
Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
Давай.
This will go here. No, here. And then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go.
Хм. Зависла. Почему? Всё. Epic Game вообще. Что ты раздаешь какие-то игры? Реально, на этот сегодня третью игру устанавливаю. И все какие-то кривые, блин. Кривые игры тебя ласкают. Так. Сейчас можно будет доехать в форме до конца. Это бред. Все сбрасывается. Настройки. Правильно.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Мужик.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ну, получается сейчас, что я сейчас сделал, нравится, что бросил.
When Stanley came to a set of two open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on.
Пипец смешно,
You
блядь.
actually think you had a loving wife?
Шутник,
Want to
блин,
commit their
великий.
life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Как же много болтовни в этой.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls, and down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby, and he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always
Понимаешь,
has.
что
Nothing has changed. The longer he
развернусь
spends
опять
here, the
будет.
more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Пробуем. Подождем. Как-нибудь. Parable.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll
Блин,
understand?
чувак, ну как мне
Every
с тобой
second he
бороться?
remains here,
Какой
he's
он
electing to
там с
kill
ним?
himself. How can I get him to see what I see? How
Открывай
can I
дверь.
make him look at himself?
Открывай дверь. открыл.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time you'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
Awesome.
And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Ладно.
Already this was uncomfortable,
Там же
and Stanley
получается,
decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe
не
in,
помню,
that
там.
he would never leave it again
Помимо
in
телефона
his
еще
life.
трубку. Дай трубку.
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way
Может, по идее, каждый раз можно.
to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow.
Помню, то, что
Yes.
это просто
This
выключить
room.
компьютер,
But
это
eager to
не
get
то,
back to
а
business,
слишком
Stanley
просто,
took the first open
банально.
door on his
Заморачиваться на
left.
такие тексты, на такие... Просто
Stanley was so
разрыв
bad
мозга,
at
и
following directions, it's incredible he wasn't
чтобы игра
fired years
заканчивалась
ago.
простейшим. Это...
Look, Stanley,
Yeah.
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are
Это
you
первый
that
раз вижу, что
convinced
ты
that
так
I
делал.
want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of
Мне
this,
игра
but I
зависит.
really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a
Пойду в
chance.
синий.
Now listen carefully. This
Нет,
is
я пойду в
important.
синюю.
Stanley walked through the red door.
Сразу.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley? All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Is it worth ruining the entire story I'd written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours.
А концовка-то простейшая, как бы, да, ты не узнаешь, что произошло.
Vehicles? Skill
Попали.
trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Okay,
Оценим
stop
хреново.
there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Менялся, получается, текст. Текст игры поменялся вне зависимости от оценок, которые оставил, хотя я тоже ставил 5. Просто так как поменялся именно его текст.
It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the
Поменялся
message of the game
диалог.
only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you
Блин,
give it 4
где
hours of
он?
play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless
Да, я
bastard.
бессердечный.
Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Это не ребенок,
What's
это
the matter? I
картонка.
don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for
Нечего
me.
меня тут
I'm not
зачитывать.
even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here?
Давай
Yes,
запускай Майнкрафт.
seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then. Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Погнали. Пойдем.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light? Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Там летучий мышь запищала, блин. Туса.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Я просто портал не готов. Как бы видел.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
Прикольно.
Genius. plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had it. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video game, you can just sit there and let it ball up inside you for all eternity. I don't need your advice. I don't need your ratings. And I certainly don't need the validation of a man whose job is to push buttons. I think I'll just go about my business, making meaningful cultural contributions to the world. And perhaps every now and then I'll think back to a man named Stanley who was objectively wrong in every decision he ever made. The thought won't last long. Goodbye, Stanley. Good luck with your work, and I sincerely hope that everyone lives happily ever after.
Yeah. Hello. Нормально. А? А? Ты кошка. А? М?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it, down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
М?
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to
Чувак
business,
работает в офисе,
Stanley
все
took the
пропали.
first open door on his
Кто-то с
left.
тобой разговаривает, видит голос в голове.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he
Oh,
wasn't fired years ago.
Я как бы
Look, Stanley, I
прошел
think
один
perhaps
раз
we've
и
gotten off on the wrong foot here.
я думал, что прошли.
I'm not your enemy,
Мне
really.
кажется, слишком простой.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful. Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Так, ну я не верю, что просто окончание игры это
When Stanley came to a
просто
set of two
какие-нибудь
open
системы,
doors, this
что
was not the correct way to the
ходов нет.
meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Там внизу
Perhaps he wanted
открыта
to stop by the
тура
employee lounge first, just
ворота.
to admire it. Standing
Я
now in
почему
this incredible
прыгнул?
room, Stanley for the but
Так как
eager
можно
to get
спокойно
back to
прыгнуть.
business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Просто как
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
В идее, если на коробке-то упаду, то легче же.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not, but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story,
Короче, туда
and no
вниз
one
не
gets to tell him what to do.
понял. Так, ну сейчас пробую тогда последний вариант.
All
Ну я
of his
вроде все
coworkers were
перепробовал.
gone. What could it mean?
И не две
Stanley
не все
decided
мы
to
там.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he
Как
had something else
поиграли,
to
это,
remember.
это просто...
When Stanley came to a set of two open
Что ты
this was
оцениваешь
not the
плохо,
correct
что
way to
хорошо,
the meeting room,
бесполезно.
and
Заходишь в
Stanley knew it
красную.
perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
Красный ты
just to
попадаешь в
admire it.
чиллаут. Фиксируешься.
Stanley
Конечно.
felt lightheaded,
Там уже.
butterflies in
Видите,
his
ты
stomach, but
ставишь,
eager to get back
видишь.
to business, Stanley took the first
О,
open door on his left.
сейчас вот мне интересно стало, когда телефон появляется. Была дверь вроде.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've
Так,
gotten off on the wrong
слева
foot
что?
here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm
Если
not.
было
I
пойти,
realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult.
идешь,
but the fact
умирает,
is that the story
наверх
is
идет,
all
идет
about
в офис,
nothing but you all this
поднимаешься
time.
туда, там, или запускаешь
Someone
таймер.
you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
Не хочу брать.
To reach out to her.
Нет.
Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone?
Да, я отключил
That
телефон.
wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, In this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the
я не
platform and
прыгнул.
dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality. Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Интересно. Мне сейчас интересно стало. Там что-нибудь изменилось? А есть пройти?
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Все понял. Забить. Я пошел там.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to. who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game was destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to his
Даже
staircase,
выхода вниз теперь
Stanley
нет.
walked upstairs
Просто
to his
наверх.
boss's office. Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions, and beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Shark 115. Это же. Всё.
Stanley spoke the
Night
code.
Shark 115.
Nightshark 115.
Алло.
He spoke it into the receiver
Алло.
right there on the wall.
Night Shark 115. Всё.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Я с удовольствием произношу. Night Shark 115.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot...
Я прошел. Это такая концовка, что ли? Опять какой-то бред. По-любому на какой-то, наверное. Наколывание какое-то. Я на потолке, чувак. Пусти меня отсюда.
make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need. A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if it did, it
Я
stopped
уже не
shortly
понимаю,
after. Stanley hoped that he would one
закончилась
day
эта игра,
see
прошел ли я ее, что не так.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
Она же так не
Stanley
делает, потому что
decided to go
я
up to
прошел,
his
и она
boss's
всё,
office.
типа,
Coming to a
вперед
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
ходит
office.
мне. Она же один хрен возвращает в офис.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret
Непонятно.
pin
Что
number.
реально мозг до такой степени съехал, что я не могу понять. Прошел я.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Куда?
Stanley, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Подвал. Так. Если спуститься по лестнице, мы умираем.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he
Если
felt
идем
more
направо,
free
там
to think
получится
for himself,
не красная
to
дверь.
question
Красная
the
дверь
nature
это
of his job.
обычная
Why did he
синяя
think this
дверь.
now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This
Синяя дверь,
question would
Майнкрафт,
not go
игры и все.
unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
Здесь
Mind
получается,
Control
ты
Facility.
умираешь, попадаешь в рай. Там вроде все облазить. Если пойти в правую дверь, пройти. На платформе,
The lights
прыгнуть с
rose on
платформы,
an
да?
enormous room packed with television
Заходишь,
screens.
если у тебя
What
телефон, ты
horrible
попадаешь домой
secret
всего.
did this place hold?
Если бы
Stanley thought to
телефон,
himself.
ты как
Did he have the strength
возможно
to find
закончить
out?
игру за счет того, что ты не можешь закончить. И выходят титры.
Now the monitors jumped to life.
Здесь
Their true
получается,
nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers.
ты реально
The
не можешь понять,
lives of
что
so
из
many
этого правда.
individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally
Ну, получается,
wanted in this place where freedom meant nothing.
это же просто тупо выдуманная игра.
This
Полностью.
mind
Никакой
control
ни сюжет, ничего.
facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly
Или
blind
нажать
to the
активировать.
world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Ну, конечно, есть еще варианты.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Как бы два варианта, ну, я нашел, по крайней мере, два варианта окончания игры. Есть еще больше вариантов.
And a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Ну, не знаю больше. Два варианта.
Yes. He had won. He
Да,
had
конечно, это
defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected
да,
on how many
это
puzzles still lay
загадок
unsolved.
нет.
Where had his co-workers gone?
По сути,
How had he been freed from the machine's
загадку мы
grasp?
разгадали.
What other mysteries did this strange building hold?
Точнее, как
As
загадка.
sunlight
Просто везде
streamed
прошли.
into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was
Вроде
not
все
knowledge
попробовали.
or even
Здесь уже.
power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives,
Какой-то
it will be
выдуманный мир.
his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze
Вот вариант.
on his skin,
Просто что-то
the feeling of
достело
liberation,
и все.
the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the
Как-то
way,
так.
right now, that things were meant
Короче,
to
игра
be.
классная. Только
And
будет
Stanley
играть, ни хрена не
was
поймете.
happy.
Потом где в минут 30, не 40 там. Понимаешь, что в принципе. Понимаешь, в чем прикол и что делать. Вначале первый, когда ты первый тупик ходишь, непонятно, что произошло. Что к чему. Так как бы игра. Прикольненькая, забавненькая. Сладенькая. Выйдет. Сейчас подумаем, во что играть. Всем пока.